All right, the camera's not. There we go. Chag Sameach. Yeah. Awesome. Chag Sameach. All right, so this is the Children's Presentation Day, the YMTOI Presentation Day, and this is a program, and it's my favorite part of the whole feast, because I know the children have done a great job all week working on the things they were learning and putting together this program for you guys, and so we get to see what they've done all week. We get to hear from their teachers, and most importantly, we get to hear from the program director. So I'm just going to basically introduce her, and then I'll come up at the end, and I'll wrap the whole thing up. So without any further ado, here is our YMTOI program director, Rebbitzin Julie.
That's great. Good morning, everyone, and happy 7th day of Feast of Unleavened Bread. Last day also. It certainly flew by really quickly. So I'm excited to present to you our Pesach YMTOI classes presentation. The theme for this feast was actually Parsha Pearls. So this is the first time we've done Parsha Pearls Feast Edition. Usually we have a theme that has either 7, 8, 9, 10 lessons, and because this feast didn't allow for more than 4 classes, it gave us a perfect opportunity to showcase Parsha Pearls and show you how we do it here at MTOI. So we did the Pesach edition, and we also had a brand new lesson called a supplemental guide to counting the Omer. So this was a brand new launch, and it was great because it gave the children an opportunity to learn more about how to count to Shavuot. And so we will be showing and telling you all about that as my teachers come up. So we had customized lessons, crafts, songs, games, all geared for their age groups. You can say that we engaged the 5 senses. We did seeing and hearing. We actually did tasting, which our snack leader will come up and show you later, as well as smelling. That's part of the snacks. And we also did touching. So we'll be able to show that all today as we present this to you. But this way, the children got to experience all their senses and engage them. So, as Rabbi said, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our snack team leader, Mrs. Delia Krumbaker, who will show and tell you what snacks the children ate daily in their classes.
Good morning and Chag Sameach. You can start with the first slide, please. We almost have another fun-filled feast behind us, and it wouldn't be complete without seeing what crazy snack concoctions we came up with to teach your kids about Torah. Of course, I had my trusty snack assistant ladies join me again, Miss Vera Linton and Miss Robin Shepard. And we were able to work in our shiny, brand new, super awesome snack kitchen, set up just for us. No more being in Shamish Uncle Bob's way and having to label everything so it doesn't get used by the big kitchen. This one is all ours. We jokingly said we were going to sneak in a little coffee maker and have some jazz music in the background and maybe add a couple of club chairs to make it homey and a place to hang out and make snacks, but we're not sure Rabbi would go for that. Since the theme for this feast was the Passover journey to the Promised Land, the snacks had to go on this adventure too. Next slide, please. We began our journey with the Passover meal elements, where it says in Exodus 12:8, "With unleavened bread and with bitter herbs they shall eat it." So our first snack, we gave the kids the ingredients of matzah, carousette, parsley dipped in salt water, and a little horsey sauce for the bitter herb to let them assemble their own version of the Hillel sandwich. We figured they didn't get this chance at the Passover dinner the night before because the adults probably did it for them, so now it was their turn. As expected, the bitter herb horsey sauce was either loved or hated, with more of these young Israelites opting out on this flavor. Next slide, please. Now that we have obeyed the Passover meal commands, our next step in the journey led us to the miracle at the Sea of Reeds, where in Exodus 14:14 it says, Yahweh does fight for you, and you keep still. So of course the snack was the parting of the sea, which was a rectangular butter cookie baked by our honorary snack lady and Beth Shalom's famous cookie queen, Miss Sarah Brackett. To which we added wavy blue frosting on each side and sprinkled tiny fish candies to show the parted waters and dry ground to walk through. The kids loved this one, but I'm not sure how many wipes the teachers and helpers went through trying to get the blue off of everything it touched. I'm sure you'll see that in the slideshow. Next slide, please. Moving on in our journey, the next snack was about the command to count the omer, where in Exodus 23:15 and 16, it says, You shall count for yourselves 7 completed Sabbaths. Until the morrow after the 7th Sabbath, you count 50 days. We chose to show this with the 49 days we count up to Shavuot in number cookies, again made by Miss Sarah Brackett. To her amazing butter cookies, we added frosting on top and lots of different crazy sprinkles to create a party on a plate effect. Many of the kids told us this one was their favorite snack up to this point in the feast. Next slide, please. For our final class, since we were wandering through the desert, this journey had to include what ended up being the favorite snack this feast, at least by the adults. Our version of manna and quail. In Exodus 16:12, it says, Between the evenings you are to eat meat, and in the morning you are to be satisfied with bread. So in our version, we used caramel corn to represent the sweet manna and 2 chicken wings to represent the quail, bones and all. This was a big snack and enjoyed by the kids and the adults that day. Now the pressure is on to come up with the perfect snack to finalize our journey when we reach Mount Sinai for Shavuot. You'll have to stay tuned to our YMTOI Facebook page to see what we come up with for that. Thank you again for letting us serve your kiddos, and Chag Sameach.
Okay, so that was short but sweet because we only had 4 classes. So now I'm going to go ahead and have the Torah Tots teachers, Mrs. Deanna Payne and Mrs. Rachel Atkins, come on up and show and tell you what the Torah Tots class had been doing this feast.
Chag Sameach. So my name is Deanna Payne, and it was a privilege to be a part of the Torah Tots class for this Pesach. The Torah Tots are the 3 to 5-year-olds. I would like to introduce and thank my amazing teacher team, Maura Rachel Adkins, who is over the crafts, and Maura Esther Troyer, who created and led out in all of our games. They truly went above and beyond. We planned and prepared beforehand, but not expecting that I would be sick and miss the first 2 days of class. They seamlessly stepped in and, sorry, I lost mine, filled in for me. They were wonderful. I would like to thank the Torah Tot parents who brought snacks for every day and helped out in class. And all of the parents who came and helped out, even if they didn't have kids in our class, with the games through the week. The theme for our class was the same as for Katan A and B, which was the Passover story and the counting of the Omer. For our first class, we talked about how the feast we are keeping this week is commanded by Yahweh, that he gave detailed instructions to the Israelites in Mitzrayim on how to keep this Passover, and he also gives detailed instructions in how we should keep this Passover as a remembrance forever to all generations. We also talked about how when we follow Yahweh's instructions, we're showing him how much we love him. Then we went back in time to see what happened in Mitzrayim so many years ago. So first we had to find a lamb, a perfect one. And our craft for this lesson was the lamb stick puppet. Are they catching her? And for our game, Mora Esther set up the entire activity room for a huge scavenger hunt. The children were looking for the perfect lamb with a tag that matched their own. They had to keep their lamb safe and take care of it for the remaining 3 classes, similar to the Israelites who had to take care of their lambs and keep them safe for 4 days. For the second class, we talked about Yahweh's instructions to the Israelites on how to prepare this lamb to eat, what to eat with it, and even how they're to dress while they eat this Passover meal. Our crafts to go along with this lesson were the matzah and horseradish stick puppets. Our activity for this lesson was making matzah ball soup. Not quite the roasted lamb from our story, but having fun with something that we eat to celebrate Passover today. The objective was to make the best matzah ball soup ever. The children used spoons to carry their soup ingredients, which were colored balls, through an obstacle course and call out the name of the ingredient as they add it to the soup pot. Anyone adding something yucky to the soup got a plague sticker. For the third class, we talked about Yahweh's instruction to the Israelites to put some blood from the lamb around their doors. Ellie said what I know all the children were thinking. Why did they have to do that? I told her I imagine that the Israelites back then may have thought the exact same thing. How could they possibly know what was about to happen and how obeying Yahweh in this seemingly odd command would save their lives? Excuse me. Yahweh was about to send the 10th plague, the destroyer, and all of his very interesting instructions were about to make perfect sense. Even for us today, obeying Yahweh keeps us safe from things we may not even know are dangerous. So Yahweh wanted to protect his people. If they would trust him enough to obey him, he would spare their lives and pass over their houses. So we know once the destroyer came, Pharaoh wanted the Israelites to leave in a hurry. And those who were obedient were ready to go. And that's where our activity starts for this lesson. We know that the Israelites left in the night during a full moon. Mora Esther talked to the children about how some things can get a little scary, and we must trust Yahweh's plan. And what may seem a little scary at first sometimes can turn out to be fun. So we girded up the little Torah tots with glow sticks all over, and they left the classroom and went into the dark activity room, where they glowed almost as bright as a full moon. With Mora Esther as their glowing guide, they danced in the dark to Mora Brianna's song, Be Strong and Courageous. But when the music stopped, they had to freeze, or they might get struck with the plague stickers. On our last class, we learned about the counting of the Omer, counting the 50 days. Sorry. They all did such a great job showing me how they can count. Pardon me, I'm so sorry. To 10 or 50 and 100. We talked about how when the Israelites entered the land of Canaan, they were to remember Yahweh by always bringing the first of their crops to him on the second day of unleavened bread. They were to count each day until they got to 50 and then bring another offering. And we talked about how since we're not living in the land that we don't make these offerings, but we are still to count the 50 days and to use this time to thank Yahweh for all his goodness in our lives and to think of something every day to be thankful for. So I asked the children what they were thankful for. Tova said she is thankful for her sister giving her hugs. Ellie said she is thankful for the sun and the flowers. Walter said he is thankful for Lloyd, his stuffed animal. And Armadeus said he is thankful for his sister growing bigger. And the last activity, Mora Esther made the sea of reeds out of sparkly blue streamers with pictures of sea creatures intertwined throughout. The sea parted, and the children took turns spinning a dial, which would give them a number 1 to 3. They would then get that number of stepping stones to lay out as a path through the sea. They each took turns spinning the dial, laying out their stones until they made it across. Once there, they had to tell what creatures they saw on their way and were rewarded with a matching sticker. And now we're at the end of our week. Mora Esther asked the children if they had taken good care of their little lambs from the first game, and all the children had done an excellent job. So she let them redeem their little lambs for a much bigger plushy one that they could keep. All right, so that's all for me. The Torah Tots will be coming up to the stage to sing with Katane after their presentation.
I'm with you, Deanna. I think we inherited the same voice this morning. And I was about to say, we didn't bring up the Torah Tots kids. I'm sure you're all wondering. Don't worry, they will be coming up in a short bit here. So now for the next part of our presentation, I'm going to have my Katan Aleph, Katan A, Moras. I have Mora Brianna White, accompanied by Mora Janelle Ortiz, and they will present what Katan A did this week.
I want to raise this, but I don't know if I'm going to mess it up. There we go. That's better. All right. Good morning, everyone. So it has been my pleasure to teach, sing, and have lots of fun with your 6 to 8-year-olds this feast. I wanted to share how impressed I was with them and seeing how intelligent and how sweet, how caring they all were to each other. And I must say, this might be one of the most calm classes. Even one of our camera women, Miss Carrie Bayer, was saying, are they usually this calm? But this was just a fantastic class. So I just wanted to give them a big compliment because they were just so sweet to each other. So, and truly embodied the fruit of the Spirit, is what I wanted to say. So, for this feast, we had, as the Torah Tots presented, we went over the same topic. So I'll just talk about a little bit the differences from what we did. This feast, I decided to have each class just start with the children creating their own picture book, and I wanted them to use their imaginations, and when I said the word Passover, draw the imagery that came to mind. Because before I showed them the lesson, I wanted to see their interpretation of Passover. So I just thought I'd show you a few of my favorites. And I only gave them 10 or so minutes to do this. So I just wanted to see how quickly, or what they could come up with very quickly. So something that I wanted to show you from Miss Mia, she was only 6 years old. She drew many pictures in this 10 minutes. She drew the matzah, a sheep. She drew, this is a picture of herself. And then this is the wine. She drew more. She drew herself at the table. And then during the story, she also drew, this is supposed to be the doorpost with the blood on it. So I was just very proud of her interpretation. And then I'll just show you one more for our very detailed, this is just one, but many of them drew very detailed versions of the Passover meal. And this one was from Adele. And I just thought it was amazing. She drew the elements, she drew the wine, and then the matzah. And again, this was only in like 10 minutes. So I'm very proud of them. So I just thought it was great to see how much they could remember from that night prior when we did the meal. So then we did tell the story, and I was curious to see if they recognized any of the symbols that they had drew in their books. All right, so the story again was of the Passover story, and we just wanted to give them a better idea and also some imagery of what had happened during that time. And after our story, we had the kids do a craft, and we had the finger puppets. So kind of similar to what Torah Tots did, but in this case, they can wear them on their fingers. So we had a matzah, and some of them drew or did different things with the faces and the eyebrows. So I thought they were very creative with that. We also had a horseradish, and again, it has a nice silly face on it with its tongue out. And then we had, lastly, a lamb, which, similar to Torah Tots, we wanted to make sure they understood that it had to be a perfect one with no limp. And I had to explain what limp meant, and I was walking around the classroom with a limp. But these were the elements from the meal. And then just to explain a game that I had them do, so we had them try to recreate the meal as quickly as they could, because we wanted to explain that they had their sandals on and they had their loins girded. They were getting ready to leave. So what we did is we had a Seder plate, and I showed them what it should look like with all the elements on it, and then I took all the elements off. So if you wanted to show them one by one, there was a matzah. So that was one of the elements. And then we had the parsley and the charoset, bitter herbs, and the wine. And then lastly, we had this for the salt water. And then they had to quickly, we timed them, and we had 2 teams. And so we just wanted to see who could get the meal ready faster. And then we just tried to see if they could keep beating their time, because that's what the children of Israel did. And I also explained to them that after a long day of working and making bricks, they didn't get to take their shoes off and relax. They had to be ready. So that was part of the game that we did. So the next lesson was on counting the Omer. And so I wanted to show you the Omer count that they did every day. This was one that Eli had made. I thought it was very detailed. And then the other one is the one that the girls picked because it had flowers on it. But this was Adele's, and I just thought she colored it in very beautifully. But each day we wanted to have them fill in their own or color in their own Omer count, and we also had a giant one in the classroom. But their lesson was all about counting the Omer, and I guess I will also show you, I was really proud of, because again, we used these books, and Kaya Troyer decided to make her own Omer count in her book. And this is exactly like the one that was in the classroom. It had a Torah scroll. So I just thought it was very nice to see them using these books, and they were really understanding the material. And so, yeah, we went over the Omer count and the first fruits, and we talked about how barley was a part of the first fruits. So it was a very good lesson for them. And then the last class was all games, so I'm going to have Maura Janelle explain what fun games your children played this week. And so thank you for my part, and Chag Sameach.
So before we would begin each game, we would say, "It's game time!" And we would have so much fun. Some games had prizes and some games did not. We just had fun playing them. Our first game was hiding the Passover lamb. So there were several stuffed animals that we hid throughout the classroom, and they had to find them. The next one was frog jump relay, and they enjoyed that a lot. Then we did what was Pharaoh says. But what you had to do was actually the opposite. So if we said Pharaoh says jump, they had to stand real still. If Pharaoh says yell, they would whisper. So don't follow. Then we changed it to Yahweh says, and then they would obey. So it was really neat. Then we had the plague games of the big bad boils. And that's where we would have balloons, and they would throw them at each other, and they had a lot of fun doing that. Then we had Hailstorm Havoc, and that's where they had balls, ping pong balls, but each team had a huge poster as a shield to kind of shield them from the hailstorm. So they had fun doing that. Then there was a time where they just had fun and just threw the balls at each other. But the goal was also to try to fill up a container with some of the balls and see who filled up the container the most. So that was a way we kind of did it in a competition way. And then we had an obstacle course, and each team had to blindfold their neighbor, and we also talked about what is your neighbor, and so they learned about that. But anyways, as they went through the obstacle course, learning to trust each other. And then we had the locust swarm. So that's where it's kind of like playing tag, but once you tagged someone, they became a locust. So there would be one person that would start as it, and I would yell, "The locusts are coming!" And then they would start running and running and running. It was a lot of fun. Then the last one that I did that kind of is called Hide the Gems. And that was where we would kind of remember what we learned about from the story. And some kids, whoever answered the most, got to go out of the classroom. And then we would hide the gems, and 2 or 3 children would hide a gem in maybe under their lap or something like that, and they would come in and try to guess who has the hidden gem as a representation of that we should hide Torah in our mind and hearts. And that's it. Thank you.
And we're going to have our Katane students give you a song version of their memory verse. So that's something fun that we're doing this year. And also Katambi will be having a song memory verse.
Where's the music? Where is the music? Why is it my great grandma? But she has to have my cousin. Joey. Where's the music? Like, where's the music? I'm reading. You were on TV too. We're on TV, yeah. We're on TV. I don't like to stand out. What size are you? Size 8. Yes, I'm in 8. I'm almost 9. Wow. I'm almost 8. Where's the
Okay, I apologize. We have a little bit of technical difficulty. Do you want to do it without the music? Do you want them to do it without the music?
Okay.
Okay, we can try to do it together. I want you guys to say your verse one more time, okay? Sorry, 3, 2, 1.
It's 12:24.
And you shall guard this word. Oh, there's the music. Can they replay it? Restart it? 1 second.
There's that music. And you shall guard this word as a law for you and your sons forever. And you shall guard this word as a law for you and your sons forever.
And now we're going to have Torah Tots Joy and Katane on stage. And they are going to be singing the song together. And this one is called Leaving for the Promised Land. And that was kind of their theme for the feast.
All right, we do want to apologize to those on live stream. We realize we're having a technical difficulty where the music didn't go through. We're still working on figuring that out. But we could hear the singing, but the music did not play through the live stream. We're still working on that. New building, new technology, new soundboards. First time we're using 2 different soundboards, one in this room and one actually for the stream. So thank you for your patience.
Okay. Well, you just had to be here live. That's all I can say. Right? Okay. So for the next portion of our presentation, I'm going to have our Katan Bet Moras, Mora Jessica Tucker, alongside our craft creator and helper, Mrs. Selena Stevenson, to show and tell us what Katan Bet did this week.
Chag Sameach. Okay, so first I want to start out thanking Selena and Grover and all my parent helpers, and of course Rebbitzin for the opportunity and for all the help throughout this feast. The kids were absolutely amazing. We had 100% class participation. They were super engaged. So without further ado, of course we learned about Pesach and Chag HaMatzot, and then we learned about Sefirat HaOmer, counting the Omer. So I wanted to make things a little fun for the class and also make sure that they could retain the information. So when we were reading, we had kind of like cue words. So every time Yahweh was read, the kids would put their thumbs up. When they heard Mitzrayim, they would put their thumbs down. Anytime Moshe's name was mentioned, the boys would all stand up. And then set apart, the girls would all stand up. And like the children of Yisrael, the whole class would stand up. So we had fun. I think my favorite was when we said new moon and we had to like, you know, but they had a good time and they were like, we keep sitting down and standing up and sitting down and standing up. But when I quizzed them and had them do the seeking treasures, they got everything correct. So I was super proud of them for that. We did go over some special Hebrew words for the lesson. Toshav, which is a sojourner. Sakir, which is a hired servant. Ger, which is a stranger. Rabbi talks about that all the time. And Ezrach, which is a native. Of course, Pesach is Passover. Seh, which is a lamb. Maror, which is the bitter herbs. Matzot, which is unleavened bread. And Bikurim, which is the first fruits. And we did go a little deeper into counting the Omer. We talked about how an Omer is 3 to 4 cups. An ephah is about 6 gallons. We even talked about the process, which is waving the sheaf, then presenting a 1-year-old male lamb that was perfect, and 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil as the grain offering, and then 1/4 of a hin of wine as the drink offering. We talked about starting the counting at sunset. We talked about having 7 completed Sabbaths in order to count it. We also talked about the children of Yisrael being given an Omer of manna and the significance between that and counting the Omer. We had some really fun skits, which I wanted to thank all my parent helpers for, and we were able to have Katan A involved in some of the skits as well. We did the burning bush, which is probably my favorite. We did Moshe and Aharon approaching Pharaoh with the rod and it turning into a snake. We also did when Pharaoh was chasing Yisrael out of Mitzrayim. So that was just an absolutely unforgettable time. And then we did some activities because we wanted to complete the entirety of the lesson that Rebbitzin spent all this wonderful time creating. So we also had mazes, and you know I like to make things big. So we had the children race to complete the mazes, which I thought was really interesting to see them big. They look even cooler in person than they do online. So if you guys ever have a big group of kids, or if you have a family with a lot of children, doing this I think is pretty recommended. Okay. We also, of course, did the word search, and we had our children racing to complete this. I won't lie, they had so much fun. Some of them were like, I can find these upside down, and I was like, let's see you do it. We also made the crossword puzzles bigger, which I appreciate it because the crossword puzzles are a challenge. They're a challenge for adults. But for the kids, it gave them a chance to think. They were like, oh, what did the Morris say about this? Oh, we read this part. I know the answer. And I thought it was great to see them get so excited about this. So these were the activities. And now I'm going to have Selena talk about the crafts that we did this week.
Okay. Oh, I don't have a microphone.
Do you want to come to the mic?
No, just I'll hold it.
Yeah, we didn't think this through this time. I didn't have a microphone. So we did the Parsha Pearls lesson, like Jessica said. And so Katan B always has a notebook page. And this is the one that is in the Passover lesson. So this is an Israelite home, and they got it already colored. So what they have is they got to color the Israelite with their loins girded, and they wrote some of the words that Jessica already mentioned. So they wrote Pesach on there, and they took some red puffy paint and went around the door. And then we put some popsicle sticks on this window, and then when you open this window up, you have the Passover elements, and they wrote maror and matzot and say. So that is what they did for the first day. The second day, all the classes did this. Torah Tots and Katane also did this. And so this is a counting the Omer craft. So what day in the Omer is it, guys? 6, that's right. Okay, so Katan B got this. Now, Katan B parents, I just want you to know that they didn't color all the numbers in, so they need to keep coloring the numbers in. And if somebody finishes, please email it to Rebbitzin. We would love to see. So we got this. They colored. I don't think Torah Tots colored anything. Katan A colored some things, and Katan B had all their numbers left to color in. So make sure they do that. So we had that, and then there were holes punctured, and then we have pipe cleaner that we just went through the holes with. This is the Torah Tots one, I think, and so they got glitter pipe cleaner. And so then we just have these pony beads, and you just slide them along. So we would put it at 6 because that's where we are. And I don't know if this is going to show on the camera, but right here when you get to the end, 7, when this week is counted, you're at S. So this says Shavuot right here in a little flower font. So we've got that. And then when you get to day 50, you have your nifty little MTOI coin that says 50. So that is the one that all the classes did. I'm going to show 3 more things really quickly. So the Katan A and B lesson both have a cryptogram, and the kids seem to like these. So this is the teacher version that's already filled in, but they've got a code here, and then they have to figure out what it says. The Katan A one had a little more simple one, but I was told that we're going to have to make more of these. So that is that. And then I just wanted to show, Rebbitzin already showed these the other day, but this is the coloring page, one of the Counting the Omer coloring pages. This is the one that Miss Vera did. So this is Levi's. He did a really great job on this, so have him keep coloring it. He did a fantastic job. And then there's one more. This is Sophia's. This is similar to the Katan A one of the Katan A ones, but it's very detailed, and if your kid likes to color, this is great. I made it for people that like to color, or adults that like to color. It's on the website, go get it, but she did a really beautiful job, and I think that is it.
Okay. Yay! So the last craft I wanted to mention is the one that we did on our last class really quickly. So I thought it would be great if all the kids got together and did a group project. So everyone traced their hands, including Rebbitzin. Rebbitzin traced hers in the middle, all of the teachers and the coordinator. And it says we all had a hand in keeping this feast. It has our Hebrew words on it, and it has the memory verse that the children are about to sing. So without further ado, let's hear Katan B sing their memory verse.
Between your eyes.
Okay.
Miss Jessica.
Can't talk on the stage, honey. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly talk about the games that we played. Well, and also one skit that I forgot to mention earlier, which is my favorite. So it was a 10 Plagues improv. And we got to play it with my class, and then later on we combined Catan A and Catan B. And we got to play it together. So basically, I would ask the class, give me one of the plagues. And once they gave the name of the plague, the parent helpers would act it out. And it was hilarious because Miss T.C. Fulford and Miss Angel acted out the death of the firstborn. And she just pushed her and she fell down dead. It was hilarious. And then Mr. Kenneth Atkins did the animal disease. So he was just like, moo, and then fell over dead. And the kids thought it was epic, which I did too. It was the best part. So we also played the Hailstorm Havoc game. And when I say havoc, we wreaked havoc on each other. So we brought Catan A for a rematch in, and I gave them a bunch of different sized balls and soft things to throw at each other and let them launch things at each other and try to shield themselves and fail miserably. We also played Balloon Boils game, which was really great. So we did it in 2 different ways. So in one of the ways, we had all the students have the lights out for the Plague of Darkness. And then the parent helpers came in, and we had the balloons, and we just blitzed all the kids with the balloons. And they were like, ah! And then it started a giant fight where we were just throwing boils at each other. Gross. But and then we did an Omer count race. I wanted to do a specific game for the new lesson. So we built 2 giant Omer counters, and then the kids had to run, and they had to jump through hurdles and get to the Omer, and they would have to count it using the pool noodles. It was actually really fun to watch. We also played Plague Charades, which I thought was great, letting the kids get to act things out like the adults. So this is all the fun that we had, and now Catan B and Gadol are going to sing a song together written by the lovely Maura Brianna.
Take us out of Egypt just to die at the sea. With a plan waiting for you that you just can't see. He broke us from these chains, now we're finally free. We're finally free. We were not built to break, don't turn away. We were not built to break, don't turn away. We were not built to break, don't turn away. We were not built to break, don't turn away. 'Cause brick by brick he built us up without trust.
Bravo, bravo. Good job. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, so that was Katan Bet as well as Gadol smothered in there, joining them to sing that song that Brianna made changes to. She Briannified it. All right. All right, so for our last segment of presentation with the teachers, I'm going to have Moray Cliff Madison come up and talk to you about what the Gadol class did this feast.
Let's give it up to Katan B and Gadol one more time. All right. Hi, Sameach, y'all. So my name is Clifton Madison. I was a co-teacher for Gadol this year. I'm also the MTOI Houston, the extension lead. So if you did reach out in the last week, please know that we'll reach out to you. So, and if you're ever in Houston, definitely come down. The food is absolutely awesome. And also, I want to give some special thanks first to our YMTOI director, Representative Julie. Thank you. And her husband and our anointed appointed, Rabbi Steve. Let's give him a round of applause, for sure. For really curating a absolute amazing curriculum for our, Torah tots all the way to Gadol. It's absolutely amazing. And then we have to give some special shout outs to Represent's team and staff as well for everything that they do during the feast as well. And our MTOI leadership, specifically Elder Billy and also Rabbi Tom, who teaches the Gadols throughout the year, which is absolutely amazing, and this is a good extension throughout the year and also the feast. So let's give it up for both of them as well. And yes, Brianna, wherever you may be, that Briannified song is absolutely amazing, is in my head continuously, so thank you. Additional thanks for co-teacher and Gadol for Monique Edwards, and also our permanent teacher helpers. We had Janet Garcia and then also Lorna Anderson, so thank you. And our absolute fantastic photographer, Melissa, who was able to capture a lot of the things in our class. And also, last but certainly not least, Jessica. Thank you for all of the games. Absolutely fantastic job throughout the feast and also for setting up our room before we got here. So thank you for that. Definitely appreciate it. And so during the week, we studied plagues, also Passover, and counting the Omer, all from the adult, teen perspective. And being a teen, as Rabbi often says, is one of the funnest, most exciting, exhilarating times of your life, but it's also extremely tough because you're too young to just do whatever you want to do, but then also you're old enough to at least start to see the impacts from your own decisions. So hopefully they can stay with the teens. Also, parents, guardians, loved ones of the teens, you should be absolutely proud. They had full participation, some engaging, topics and perspectives at that age. So it just really shows the growth and development of our YMTOI program. So thank you for that. Some of the favorite parts, at least for mine, is for me is the relationship building, and then also the community. And we have some epic story times as well. Most of those story times is me, growing up as a teen and embarrassing myself. So, so they learned a lot from that, which is also good. And in a lot of the teachings that we receive from Rabbi. He really gives us that real world experience and things that we can look at within ourselves for self-examination and also personal development. So I would just like to just task everyone throughout this feast, anything that you've learned, anything that you can grow from, if you can look at yourself, also doing the Omer Challenge and also the Level Up class, highly recommend that for continual growth. So with that being said, give it up for Godot one more time, and Sameach. Thank you.
I'm a little shorter. Just a tiny bit shorter. Thank you. Yes, that's perfect. Okay, thank you. It's so great, this feast. Rabbi had the idea to increase the age of Gadol to 18, and I heard feedback from the 18-year-olds that they were very grateful that they got to be included this time in the Gadol class, and I know they participated quite a bit, so thank you to our 18-year-olds. Okay, and so that concluded the children's show and tell, but we are not done. We have 2 more presentations to show you on the screens. The first one we're going to show you is a brand new creation we did this feast, where instead of doing pictures of the children and making a slideshow, we did videography throughout the week, led by Carrie Iannuzzi, and then she had her team with Melissa, and then also Carrie, the other Carrie Bear, and they all helped her gather all the footage from all the classes, and they worked tirelessly to create this video that we're going to see in a few minutes. What's included in here that shows you more than just pictures is seeing the games that they played in live action. And you'll see that a lot of the helpers, that they had so much fun in the class, whether they were doing skits or participating in the games. They did get a lot of enjoyment out of throwing things at the kids, I noticed, maybe too much. But it was all, no one was hurt in the filming of this, so. But this is going to be wonderful. I'm excited to show this one to you. And then stay seated because we'll have one more video to show after that where we include some of the extensions. They sent us pictures from their YMTOI feast program. And also, I'll have some thank yous after this. So thank you so much. Here we go.
Oh listen, let my people go. They work so hard all day. They work so hard all day. King Pharaoh, what do you say?
No, I won't let them go. No, I won't let them go.
Sabay. Kasabay sila eh.
All right, thank you, everyone. So that was our last slideshow presentations for this morning. I just want to, again, thank some people and have them stand up as I thank them. I want to thank my YMTOI class coordinators, Mrs. Betty Olson and Sarah Beth Ott, who's in the back helping. I want to thank my class teachers, my Torah tots, Deanna Payne, Rachel Atkins, and Esther Troyer. Katan A, Brianna White, Wendy Hunt, and Janelle Ortiz. Katan Bet, Jessica Tucker, Grover Bevins, and Selena Stevenson. My Gadol team, Cliff Madison, Monique Edwards, who couldn't be here today, and Janet Garcia. My snack team, led under Delia Crumbaker, with Robin Shepard and Vera Linton. Our YMTOI songs, written by Brianna White. my photographers and videographers who made this such a joy, led under Carrie Iannuzzi, Melissa Rand, and also Carrie Bear. Thank you. All the class helpers that came in throughout the week, I really appreciate you. You made it very easy for our teachers to do their job. Thank you. I want to thank Selena Stevenson for creating the templates for the crafts and notebook pages, along with Vera Linton for the artistry in all the Parsha Pearls lessons. Thank you so much for all that. My Bet Shalom ladies who came and had a morning of fun prepping all the crafts that the children were able to do this week. Thank you for that. And then later this afternoon, Pete Lamb will be doing a Catan bed competition, a Jeopardy game. So children, put your thinking caps on because there will be a beautiful prize at the end. All right. The medical team led under Maureen O'Brien for being there for us. Thankfully, we didn't have any serious issues. And also, I don't think this feast, any of the children were out for sickness, so that's awesome. Praise Yahweh for that. The AV team under Tommy Stevenson for today's filming, and then also Marty, who is behind the scenes also with the audio-visual team. Thank you. Our international and USA Mishpachah. So thank you for participating in YMTOI. And last but not least, I want to thank my husband, Rabbi Steve, for his overseeing of all this and creating all of this so that we can have a beautiful place to be able to celebrate Yahweh's feast, and so that your children can also have them learn the teaching instruction so that they can grow up in this walk. Thank you.
All right. Fantastic job, everyone. You know, the youth are so important. You know, that's the future, as they say. And so I'm always very blessed to know that you children are in great hands under the guidance of Rebbetzin Julie, who puts together these fantastic programs and, of course, has a team that helps her to come up with all of the different things that you guys got to do this week and make the walk and learning about the walk fun, okay? So that they should have it, you know, as David would say, King David would say, that it should be sweet like honey. It should be something that you enjoy. And so clearly, in seeing this presentation day, they did enjoy. I mean, children, did you have fun this week? Yeah, that's good. Fantastic. Fantastic. Awesome. Awesome. All right, well, I hope you guys are all blessed by getting to see their excitement over this. Just want to make sure that everybody knows that the Jeopardy game is a scripture-based, you know, feast-based game. It's a holy day. We're not just having them play a game. But anyway, so excellent job to all of you, especially to all you children. Fantastic. I'm so proud of you. Good job, children. All right, and we'll see you guys all back here for the Holy Day service at 1:15.